All right, so I want to talk about what we do when we solo, what I do when I solo. I want to talk about what I do when I solo because you could care less. Basically, to me, there's two kind of guitar solos. There's a conversation, whether you're angry, screaming, happy, I love you, whatever it is, it's a conversation. And then there's an equation. Now, an equation is where things add up and intermesh. And you've got, this mode and scale converts to this one, and I'm not good with equations. I made it to algebra. So as a self-taught guitar player, I've always liked the conversations that were, the solos that were a conversation. The reason being I can do those. I can listen to people talk and hear how the words go up and down, and they tend to, whereas the equations, your stuff like Eddie Van Halen, Steve Vai, things that get really out there, those are equations, mathematical, and I think they're beautiful. I will never understand them. I've tried to learn them, and I'm sure I could. I'm sure I could take lessons or take the time, but I kind of just feel like I've ended up being who I am and playing the solos how I play them. And so I can either try and expand on that and become a Renaissance man that can do everything, or just really be old and enjoy doing the kind of solos I enjoy. So what that means, though, is that as I get into these solos, I'm jealous. I've had a lot of coffee too. I'm jealous of the equations, so I mix a little bit in there. And if you like to do the equation solos, where it's all math and insane modes, what I love about people that do that is when they suddenly throw in something. Joe Bonamassa is one of these who does the hybrid. Eric Johnson, that he studied Hendrix, but he also studied, Django and anybody out there, Steve Vai. They do this hybrid it's really mathematical, and then suddenly it becomes lyrical, and then it becomes a combination of both, and those are the ones I openly lust at. I wish I was that kind of a player, but I'm not. So enough about that. Let me show you some stupid stuff. I'm going to be playing in B because that's what my name starts with. No, actually, I'm playing in B because I'm going to show you some things that make things, oh, wow, maybe you didn't know, maybe you do. Who knows? So B, of course, is 7th fret. If we play a B minor, where you just lay your finger all the way across it, you get this, right? I hope you can hear it. Now, the cool thing is, we got 4 fingers. A lot of people think a solo is, oh my God, I have to know all these things and all this stuff. Not really. Not if you're lazy like me. Or the conversational method. B.B. King, he's self-taught. Angus Young, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Prince. These are people who have become their own iconic style because a million different reasons, who cares? But the thing I like about it is that, to me, it sounds like they started talking that way when they were 6, and they started putting that into their frets and figuring out where do I go and how do I make my song sound, how do I make my solo sound that way. So 4 fingers like this, right? So if you just, let's focus on the top 3 strings because that's where all the magic solos happen, right? So if you go your pinky, or if you're lazy like me, use your ring finger instead, you got 3rd, 2nd, 1st, right? Actually, I guess that'd be 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 1. 4, 3, 1. 4, 3, 1. 4, 3, 1. 4, 3, 1. 4, 3, 1. Right? Now, what that is that's some will say it's the blues pentatonic, minor pentatonic, and okay, to me it's Chuck Berry. And then I got the root note, right? Always know your root note when you're doing a solo. Root note would be what key are we in, or if there's key changes, chord changes that are drastic, you can suddenly bend your solos into these chord changes and shit gets weird and cool. But for now, we're in B. Chuck Berry. That's the 3rd string, and then the 2 strings. We're all on the 1, except for that first note, which is on the 2 frets up. So what you have there is Stevie Ray Vaughan, Angus Young, Highway to Hell. I'm sure there's a Prince one, but I couldn't tell you. So next, take this and we go up to the 4th and 3rd fret from your first one. This is your root. This is your anchor. This is where all the stuff lands on. Let's pretend for my conversational solos. A whole lot of bending and vibrato. But what I do is see, my hand never left, and I only hit these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 notes. Oh, it's a scale. I'm sure it's a scale. I'm sure the equation soloists out there are calling me morons because I'm showing you. Everybody shows you this. This is like, but I see so many kids that when I go watch my kids play and the other bands play, I think the world of solos is terrifying it was to me when I started out, because it's like, oh, I've got to hit the right note and it needs to sound, it does. If you hit the wrong note, oh my God, you messed up. No, you didn't. You played a minor scale. Major, minor. So every solo, it's just a fret away. If you hit the wrong one, bend up to it. Now, the reason I'm flying through this is probably more about the coffee I've had than the solos I want to say. Like you take Pride and Joy, a whole lot of that. Now, the thing Stevie Ray Vaughan does is he adds this one in. He'll go. So, and I only learned that like 2 years ago, 1 year ago. My 16-year-old already knows this because he's learned these note by note. And he actually has bothered to study it, where I listen to it and go, what do I like from this guy's solo? What can I rip off? What can I add to my catalog of horrible shit that makes me play solos the way I do? Now, I love the way he solos. He plays stuff that I will never play. He's dedicated. He practices. He studies. It's a hobby to me. I love my guitar. He loves his guitar. But I have learned that having kids that play guitar, each person's journey through a guitar is a different thing. How far are we into this? Just 7 minutes. Good. All I'm talking to you about here is about your journey and your solos, and how you can either do the mathematical stuff where you learn the tab, which obviously I don't know. Couldn't tell you what the hell I just played or if it's from anybody's solo. I'm guessing Eddie Van Halen, probably. You pick your path, and when you are young or when you are old and you're trying to learn to play guitar and you stress over the solos, I feel like there's 2 paths people go down. One is, I want to sound like my hero. I want to learn what my hero used. What are the instruments, the pedals, the strings, the picks? How did he warm up? Some people do that, and then other people go more of a scrapbook approach. I like that. I like a little bit of this. I like a little bit of that. People, I can cop Stevie Ray Vaughan. I can also cop B.B. King. And I'm not saying I can play exactly like him. I wish I could, but then again, I also am kind of glad I don't, because the stuff I do makes my solos more about me, so that all my one-of fan out there can enjoy the crap that I play and go, he does his stuff differently, or just like everybody else. I'm one of those people that want to stand out and be different. The curse of that then is that not everybody likes what I do. Who cares? You're learning to play guitar, let's pretend, or you're judging the shit out of me right now, and I don't blame you, Chris. So your options are learn, note for note, which will get you down that path of learning to make solos that are equations, or learn conversational tones. One of the things that Stevie Ray Vaughan lifted from Albert King, and Jimi Hendrix is the whole, that note right there is, it's just, So that breaks my whole rule of 4 frets. Because Stevie Ray Vaughan, the next thing I learned about Stevie Ray Vaughan and Hendrix solos is that you go up. So see how what I'm doing is I break these into chunks. Again, someone's angry, or they're crying, angry, excited, happy, whatever it is. I try and take that. Eddie Van Halen said his solos, he always likes to make it sound like somebody's falling down some stairs. And if you listen to his solos, you kind of get that. It starts out with someone really excited, and then he does the tappity-tappity, and then he ends up with something at the bottom. Not every single one of them, you know what I mean? But it's kind of, each person comes at their guitar solos in a different way. Angus Young blends blues riffs, pretty much takes blues riffs, throws it through a Marshall at full volume, and adds some of the sickest vibrato, and then he has taken his licks and learned how to take a simple lick and move it into a different one. So he'll take this lick and then he'll move the whole thing like a stencil to a different set of frets while they're still in B, and suddenly he's got this thing that accidentally or intentionally, let's pretend, because he's really good, he finds this is where it works for him. I'll do that by accident much more often. So I think I'm going to wrap it up. We're already 11 minutes and I'm going to cut this down some. But I hope this helps you simplify your fear of finding your voice as a soloist. Playing solos is, of course, I think any guitarist's favorite part of playing guitar. If that's your favorite thing, it is your favorite thing. Some people love complex chords, some people love finger picking, so I can't say it's everybody's favorite. But when you're first starting out on guitar, I think the solos is always what makes somebody go, I want to do that. I want to set shit on fire when I play. Unless you grew up with folk singers. Like my parents love folk music, and that's all I heard when I was a kid, so maybe that's why I'm a fan of screaming solos now. Whatever it is, you know, if this is what you dig, I'll make more videos talking about the holistic approach to crappy self-taught solos, because there's so many videos on YouTube and everywhere about scales and modes and how to play Stevie Ray Vaughan's solo from The Sky Is Crying, and I love those, but I have the patience to try and work my way through about 2/3 of those videos until I finally go, why am I doing this? All I'm trying to do is learn how to do that one bitty lick that made this solo different than everything else that I remember this solo for. You know, you think about You Shook Me All Night Long. His solo. That part right there is where he moved everything. It went from blues minor to major within the solo because the chords changed or whatever, but that's the part of that solo that I listen to and go, that is why that solo fits that song, and I think of that moment. Maybe it's just me. Who knows? I hope you like this. I hope it helps. And rock on with your bad self.